Healthcare leadership today means not only leading people, but now an army of AI bots. But how do you do that and still live your day-to-day life while trying to understand how to go through the motion of getting to the next level in your leadership goals? Well, the following tips will guide you on how to become a next generation leader in the AI age. So what does this mean when it comes to leadership? You've been a leader for a while, you've led organizations, so you probably read all the books, right? What it means to help people, guide them, and also lead an organization to effectiveness. But now you have artificial intelligence in the mix. This means utilizing these tools more effectively to lead the current people, but also to be able to understand how you can lead AI bots to do the work that you need done. Ultimately, it's about being the most effective or the leader that gets the most done in the most effective way. These are the things that you need to understand in this new AI age, and you need to be prepared for it. Look, if you're ready to learn how to become the next generation leader in the AI age, come stay here and let's talk about the areas that we're going to get into today. First, we're going to talk about the 4 levels to AI leadership. Next, we're going to say, hey, can you do these levels in parallel? Absolutely. I believe you can, and we're going to walk you through that. And last but not least, we're going to talk about what happens if you don't start today and get left behind. My name is Theo Harvey. I'm a serial entrepreneur who went from lowly employee to CEO who runs a multi-million-dollar healthcare startup from his home. I raised $1 million from venture capitalists and investors, and I work with large organizations like Cisco Systems, AT&T, Charles Barkley Organization, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and Google. My mission is to help healthcare professionals prepare for the new normal in healthcare before it's too late. Let's talk a little bit about this 4 levels to AI leadership, right? You have to understand what this all means, understanding and unpacking the different areas of what it means to understand AI more effectively, right? And how you're using it today, and more importantly, how you can incorporate in your current workflows, right? And I absolutely believe these 4 areas will help you frame how to think about using artificial intelligence in your leadership every day. So we're going to talk about the first one. You want to first benchmark with data. If nothing else, everyone understands that artificial intelligence helps with organizing data into something that can be very useful. But why is it that so important for leaders? Great leaders need great data in order to effectively lead. And the best data is information that gives signals if your actions are moving in the right direction. This type of data is called benchmarks, and it can change how you lead. Jeffrey Moore, management consultant author who wrote Crossing the Chasm, which explores the challenges startups face transitioning from early adopters to mainstream customers. Without big data, you are blind and deaf in the middle of a freeway. So let me tell you a little bit about Napoleon. Everyone understands the General Napoleon who took over Europe from France in the 1800s, right? But he was known for his speed with his armies, positioning well, and using his resources, his infantry, his artillery, to the most maximum effect. This led to him winning 90% of all his battles. So how did he do it? He created the largest map department in all of Europe. They gathered and cleaned thousands of maps, land surveys, and topographic memoirs to get a complete picture of every territory in Europe. He understood Europe better than most people in the country. The point is, insightful leaders gather insights from the best data. Let me say that again. Insightful leaders gather insights from the best data. AI can do research faster than ever, and more importantly, it can lead you to the correct sources for benchmark performances. So here's a simple action. As a medical practice owner or healthcare organization leader, use AI to get benchmarks on patient engagement and patient satisfaction. If you start to understand where your organization is in comparison to others, I guarantee that's a path that you can go down to be more successful. Second, you can use artificial intelligence to create standard operating procedures, or SOPs. I like to think of Jim Collins, who wrote the great book, Good to Great. Great companies keep track of what works, not just to celebrate, but to replicate. Standard operating procedures, or SOPs, are like recipes for success. Doing the right thing allows you to uncover what is working and to make it easy to share these success nuggets with your team. Look, at the end, I will point you to additional resources to help. According to studies, documenting engaging stories, such as patient success videos or testimonials, can increase healthcare employee engagement by up to 20% because it boosts community trust and help attract new patients. One of the things I want you to do is, if you want to learn more about how to implement standard operating procedures or SOPs in your organization, I did a whole nother video that you can watch here that talks about how to use SOPs to engage your team no matter where they live in the world. Third, you can use artificial intelligence to personally take that knowledge and then teach others. I know your secret, and it's okay because I do it too. Guess what? We all do it. We are all using AI to rewrite our emails and the messages we send to colleagues and our employees. Why is that? Because we want to appear smarter. You don't want to have issues with spelling or grammar mistakes, and you won't be clear in your messaging. So of course you use AI. Like many of you, I didn't want everyone to know that I was using AI. But I will show you a trick when you can switch from a sense of embarrassment to one of pride about using AI. Oprah Winfrey once said, "Turn your wounds into wisdom." I can tell you about myself. I'm a terrible speller. For some reason, in elementary school, I never slowed down enough to learn all the tricks. For instance, I before E except after C. You know all the things. As a leader of a growing company, I was embarrassed when I sent things of misspellings. I had to rewrite them, the grammar is incorrect, and I spent hours writing simple emails. And I initially resisted tools, but after a particular embarrassment with a customer interaction where we lost a deal on some bad grammar, I started to change. And with the tools like autocorrect and Grammarly, ChatGPT, I was able to finally be free, encourage others to give it a try after it so much helped me. I became an advocate, right? As opposed to someone who was in the closet. The point I'm trying to make is your mess can be your message. Finally, you have to start playing with these AI automation and agent tools. These are the next generation of the AI bot army I talked about earlier. These are going to be automations that you can build out that can do processes over and over again consistently. For instance, we're using it now to do outreach to potential customers, and it runs all the time. But the issue is, can AI do that? That is a question you have to fundamentally understand and be curious about as you look to ways to use AI. We have been brought up to believe that AI is either a glorified autocorrect or AI can cure cancer. But I believe the truth really lies somewhere in between. And the only way to really know for yourself is to play with it, make it do tasks for you. Google famously has a 20% time policy, which allows employees to spend 20% of their working hours on projects outside of their core job responsibilities. This allowed employees to dive into projects that drove passion. The results of this play speak for themselves. From 2004 to 2010, when the policy was widespread, Google grew their revenue from $3 billion to $29 billion. Their market capitalization, or example, the value of their stock over that period of time, went from $23 billion to $190 billion. The point is, organizations who experiment experience explosive growth. Organizations who experiment experience explosive growth. Start playing with AI automation today, and I guarantee you're going to have success on understanding how better use these tools in your day-to-day leadership goals. Let's talk about point 2, right? How can you do all the levels in parallel? Is this something you have to go step by step? I don't believe you have to. As a leader, you now have 4 levels of different ways of using AI with your people. You have from research to SOPs to being a teacher of the tools that you use personally to being an experimenter. So is it possible to do all the layers and levels at once? Indra Nooyi, former CEO of PepsiCo, said leadership is about learning to balance multiple priorities without losing sight of what's essential. Yes, you can, but you need to have a clear path and vision of what you're looking to accomplish with this tool as a leader. Just as your leadership role is multifaceted, and if you focus on working with multiple people, so is your ability to use tools to meet the needs of the same people. Let's talk about a hammer, right? Typically used to hammer in nails, but guess what? There can be tons of different uses. It can reseal paint cans, assemble flat back furniture. It can install wall anchors. It can nudge a stuck door or window frame, crack ice or break large salt dumps. It can sound out hollow spots in a wall or frame. It can close pop top lids and metal tins. The list goes on and on. Likewise, you have the opportunity to use the tools you see fit, but you need to know when and how to use them. An AI tool is only useful as its user. Let me say that again. Any tool is only as useful as its user. If you want to know a better way to kind of implement these AI leadership techniques, look, you can take courses that can really guide you and kind of get you started. And in fact, we are offering a free masterclass, and this masterclass will kind of teach you on how to use AI and other technologies to really grow your healthcare organization. So if you're interested, go check out the information below. Spaces are limited. Let's get to the last part of this. What happens if you don't start today? Leadership is timeless, but the tools are constantly changing. The leaders who adapt will be more effective and therefore more likely to get the best results of their people. Research from BCG and Columbia Business School says that employees and organizations with adaptive leaders, those who model and support tech adoption, are 70% more likely to feel enthusiastic about adopting new tools and 92% more likely to feel well-informed about technology changes, which accelerates organization-wide transformation. Leaders who don't change with the new tools will become irrelevant. Becoming the leader you need to be for your organization is the only way you can be successful and not be left behind. So hopefully I kind of walk you through all the different areas to think about leadership when it comes to AI in this new age. First, think about these 4 levels of AI leadership. We talked about it, right? From research to creating SOPs to help manage your people, to actually training your people on how to use it personally, so you're the evangelist, and then finally making the organization be more experimental, right? And looking at these tools from that standpoint. Next, you can do all these levels in parallel. Think of it like a tool, and you have to think it from different angles. So how you can, sometimes you may need it for research, sometimes you need to create that SOP for your employees. Other times you need to start experimenting with these automations so you can be more effective in using them. And last but not least, if you don't act today, you will be left behind. So go ahead and start that path and looking at ways you can implement today so that you will be successful and not irrelevant. So tell me, how are you using AI in your leadership in the comments below?